Now on One, the first of a new series of Inside Out with David Whiteley.
Hello, it's great to be back. I'm in Norwich and this is what's coming up tonight.
I'll be finding out why Norwich Union Aviva has asked this woman to pay back £240,000 after her home was destroyed by fire.
I lost it, which I was devastated about, and losing everything that I ever worked for in my life. It's like losing it twice.
Find out why the same thing could happen to thousands of us.
Surprising stories from where you live on tonight's Inside Out. This is Mousehold Heath overlooking Norwich, home to one of the country's most famous insurance companies. Now, having an insurance policy should bring us peace of mind, but imagine being told you've got to pay back hundreds of thousands of pounds after your house has burnt down. Well, it could happen to you. I've come to see Michelle Barber. Now, Michelle's house was completely destroyed by her ex-husband, who deliberately set it on fire. Now it's been rebuilt, and she's moved back in. So, Michelle, what happened then? What happened in here?
Well, this is where we think it all started. This is where the police and the fire brigade said the fire started. From in the bedroom, it's then spread into all up in the dormer, all the way down the corridor. Obviously, it's gone into that bit, the front of the lounge, which is then the dormer, which is all upstairs. Took all the roof off. All the house was literally gutted.
So that you lost everything then?
Yeah, I've lost everything, and that's just the beginning of the nightmare.
So you were out at the time when it happened?
I was at a friend's birthday party.
So when you came back?
Well, the police come and told me that the house was on fire. I came back and I couldn't believe it.
Norwich Union, now known as Aviva, paid for the rebuild and other costs. When Michelle Barber spoke with GMTV in 2007 about the arson attack, she was full of praise for her insurance company.
We went out to a birthday party and we had a bit of a fallout, and he went home before me. The next thing I know, the house was on fire. The insurance have been absolutely marvellous and sympathetic to my case. They accepted responsibility, or before this went to trial. So that was one less thing for me to worry about, really.
Yes, yeah. Are you worried about him and his reaction?
But earlier this year, she received a letter from the insurer.
About 2 weeks before I was due to move back in, there was a problem with the insurance. I mean, they had been marvellous all the way through this, so I thought. And then they asked me to send for an SA1, which is to disclose if you ever had any fines or convictions. And I sent for this from Disclosure Scotland, and when it came back, it showed I had a fine that relates to 2002, and I'd completely forgotten all about it. I got a letter saying they were voiding my policy from inception, and that I had to repay them £241,000.
That's an incredible amount of money. So, I mean, so hang on, so what was this fine for?
It was for an overpayment of benefit back in 2002, and I got fined £100. I mean, you don't get to 50-year-old and lose everything.
Especially when you've worked so hard for it.
Which is what's happening, yeah.
Michelle's policy documents did ask her to declare if she had a criminal conviction, but she didn't realise her £100 fine, which didn't involve the police, counted. Many of us could be in the same position because we don't realise that we need to own up to our misdemeanours. The charity Unlock campaigns on the issue.
They're getting caught out because they're not realising that they have to disclose these things when they first take out the insurance contract. It's only when something terrible happens, like a fire or a flood or a major theft, that a loss adjuster comes to your home, and it's their job to try and find out information that you might not have passed on when you first took out the insurance contract.
So, how many people could be potentially affected by this, and what kind of convictions are we talking about here?
Potentially millions and millions of people. We certainly know that around 1 in 5 of the UK working population has some sort of criminal conviction more serious than a motoring offence. And those convictions can be something as minor as stealing a bag of crisps or urinating in the street on a night out, something like that. A lot of women may find problems with maybe an overpayment of benefits that wasn't declared.
But the most common are public order offences, such as drunk and disorderly, or punching someone, the type of thing that can happen on a night out. But it isn't just the policyholder who needs to own up to their insurance company. You also have to declare the offences of anyone who lives with you.
The fire started next door in the shed and encroached.
The Joneses' garden in Essex recently caught fire while their teenage son Jim was indoors.
Barbecue just sort of on fire, gas canisters went everywhere. All I really thought of was grab my dog because he was just about to run out of it. So I grabbed my dog, I chucked him outside the front of the house, let people like hold him and that. And I just come out here and I was just like watched everything just burn. And I was like, nah, what have I done? Just like thought it was me or something like. And I just come out here, the barbecue, just like before the barbecue exploded. Yeah. Everything, all this here is burnt. Half the trees, all these are new fence panels, new decking.
Their insurers paid out for all building costs. Luckily, at the time of the claim, no one in the house had any offence that needed owning up to. But that has all changed. Since the settlement, Jim has been cautioned at a police station after falling out with a friend.
It's like I'm pushing someone in the bush or something, it's going to get you a little record, minor record like that. Well, you're going to get a record for anything nowadays, isn't there? So might as well get aware of it before you even do it.
So you think that so many people could be affected by this and not realise?
Yeah, definitely. Like things they could have done, they laugh about and just like gone home and forgot about, could be like affected by it like later on.
We checked with their insurers and they confirmed that they needed to be notified of this offence. The family had no idea.
Lee, did you ever realise that you would have to inform your insurer about your son's caution?
Not aware of it at all.
So is that something that surprises you, that it's something that could affect your insurance policy?
Quite shocked actually, because we're not aware, and it wasn't made clear to us, that any declaration had to be made anybody on the property with a record at all. You should be made aware of it right from the offset, even if you do it on the internet or over the phone. Before any money's taken or before you're taken into a contract with an insurance company, they should legally tell you exactly what you're insured for and what you're covered for, and any penalties should be made clear to you on that day.
Most of us pay around £300 a year for buildings and contents cover, yet some insurance companies don't make it clear at the application process just what we should be disclosing. So I've come to the Association of British Insurers to find out. Do you think people understand well enough that when they take out a policy, they have to be declaring these things, and they understand what the consequences could be if they don't declare them?
I would say that insurers ask clear questions about convictions up front. If they don't, they do provide a set of assumptions that they're making about a customer. But clearly we need to understand whether or not this is sufficient and whether more needs to be done to make sure people understand exactly what it is they need to disclose to whom and when. This is something that the ABI is looking at with its members.
Michelle Barber is now taking her case to the Financial Ombudsman Service. In the meantime, she's left holding a bill for nearly £250,000. Norwich Union Aviva says that it has a great deal of sympathy with Ms Barber, but that whilst her offence was not a major one, she failed to declare it, although she has had opportunities to do so. Had she disclosed it, they would not have offered her cover and must now take steps to recover the money spent. As for Lee Jones, he now has to make sure he discloses his son's caution to his insurer.
Do you think that insurance companies are asking us the right questions when it comes to taking out a new insurance policy right at the start of the process?
Many of them are not asking that question clearly. If it's important enough to them to make your policy completely worthless based on really minor convictions, they've got a responsibility to be fair to the customer, and that means making really clear questions happen, whether it's on the internet or whether it's on the telephone.
I could lose everything. And the thing is, I've paid my insurance, I've paid my premiums, and like I said, I didn't know that would have voided my policy. And I just don't know where to turn, to be honest. It's like losing it twice. I lost it, which I was devastated about, and losing everything that I ever worked for in my life. And then to get it rebuilt was a glimmer of hope. But now to maybe lose it all again, and the other main thing on my mind is this house was in my sole name and everything was left to my two children. If this house goes, I've got nothing to leave to my kids either, and that breaks me heart.